live on stage. That sound.
Orlando.
So, is they ready? That sound.
Orlando.
What is going on, party people? What is going on? It is a Wednesday night. We're back at it, man. This week has been a real trip, man. We've been having some great people on the show. And what's the name of the show? The Sound of Orlando Show, aka The Soul Show. If you don't know about this show, go ask somebody. This show is about our culture from a human perspective, representing the city of Orlando, representing the county of Orange. You know, that Orange County thing that we be doing out here. It's all about our city, man. And shout out to all my people out in the O right now, out in O-Town Sound, that know about that hip-hop, that knows about real humanity, real conversation, real culture, that can get with what we're dealing with out here, man, in a real way. Want to send some quick shout out to our sponsors tonight. Our sponsors tonight are TomSons.com. If you need a mask, you need something fashionable, check out my man George. 5 generations of fashion, straight out of Manhattan, New York. He's a great dude. One of the members of the legendary group Grand Ultimate. Running his own fashion company now, man, and it's a beautiful thing. He's got great masks out there. Go check the man out. And our other sponsor of tonight, legendary Jesse Jazz, is not only a legend on the turntables and those concert promotions, but he's also a legend in the graphic business. You need printing, go check my man. He's going to take care of you. Now, we're going to start the show by just a little reminder for anyone out there that's, Facebook blocked, or getting reported for their truth, right? Shout out to my man Jonathan Mann, legendary comedian, one of my brothers since day one. Shout outs to you. I know my man right now is going through a little bit because there is a consistent effort for those that don't agree with your posting. They're actually going out here and reporting you to the feds. Now, I know we hear a lot about snitching, right? And pretty much Facebook is all kinds of similarly illegal activity, if you will. A lot of people are living on Facebook, living certain lives that may not be true in their real life, right? We get that, right? But, how would people like it if people would use that Facebook post while you're trying to pretend you're this and that, and go run and tell your family, yo, you heard about this dude or you heard about this girl, whatever. We wouldn't like that shit, right? So why in the hell are people, simply because they're disagreeing, simply because you disagree with somebody, you gonna go report them? I get it, the block, I get it, the snooze, right? But you go report them? Is this what we're doing now? Is this the new thing now? Like, if I don't agree with you, I'm gonna report you to the authorities? Facebook, really? Come on, man. Yo, y'all people get a life. Stop trying to bring your people down. Freedom of speech is freedom of speech. We may not agree with what everybody has to say, but you ain't got to report people based on your idea of what they're doing. So kudos to all my freedom fighters out there doing the business that needs to be done. They're out there, they're still posting, they're figuring out ways to buck the system. We don't need that bullshit on our lives. Stop snitching on your so-called friends. Stop reporting people to the feds based on some shit you don't agree with. All right? So, with that said, we're going to get started with the show. This next brother coming on, man, he is a legendary figure straight out of Queens, okay? Now, when we talk about Queens, does it stop with the legends already? When are they going to stop? Is this going to stop? Like, they've been at it since the beginning. Queensbridge has literally been non-stop with the legends. When are they going to stop? Are they going to chill out for a minute, take a break? Hell no, because that's not what Queensbridge does. They come out and they do what they got to do. So shout out to all my people representing Queens County, representing the idea, the legend, the excellence that Queens seems to keep on making, right? This next guest is a part of that ilk. He's done legendary stuff in the business. Hip hop culture is connected to him in a not only in a business form, but in a physical way. I mean, this man's blood. He's been around some of the best people in the business. Your LL Cool J's, your Jam Master J's. He's in the process right now of developing a hip hop museum in the place called Queens. I mean, this man is just not stopping anything. He's continuing to push the culture forward, and isn't that what we want? So let's give it up right now for my brother from another mother, the one and only Queens representative, Geechie Dan. Let's go.
Yo, what's up, man? Thank you for the introduction. That was kind of nice, dude. I like that. That was dope. Thank you.
Hey, man, you know that's from the heart, man. I mean, Queens. I don't know when Queens is ever going to take a break, man. Right. It just they just keep coming. Right, and we gotta love that. We gotta respect that.
We'll never take a break.
Yes, man. But welcome to the show.
All day, man. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate the love. Thank you for inviting me on the South of Orlando show. Word is born. My man Rome, looking out, brother. That's what's up.
Yeah. Well, you know, contrary to belief, we have a lot of people in Orlando from Queens, right? And you know, some of them are, you know, belligerently Queens. Like, motherfucker, you are in Orlando, Florida. Enough with the Queen shit. But yo, you got to respect the loyalty that New Yorkers overall have for their city. And you know, truth be told, if you're from anywhere, you should have that kind of vibration to you anyway. You know, so shout out to all my peoples from New York and Orlando on the check-in right now, tuning in.
What's up?
You know,
what's up?
Before we get into some of the good things you're doing right now, give people a perspective of where you're from and how you got into this thing of ours called hip hop.
Yo, I'm from Queens, from Hollis, Farmers Boulevard, 112th Road, you know what I'm saying? And I got down with hip hop. I've been living hip hop. I've been involved in hip hop since 1983. And yo, from 1983, I started rhyming in the streets, in the park, in the Connell Park. You know, I've been rhyming on Hollis Avenue in front of the Kingdom Hall. And I rhymed on BAU, Adelphi University, 90.3 FM college radio in 1984. I was collecting tapes of all the hip hop icons that's on the tapes. You know, the Cold Crush 4, the Jazzy 5 MCs, the Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5, and the Funky 4+1, and man, the Imperial Brothers. Yo, man, they had the tapes. You know, Treacherous 3. You know what I'm saying? Curtis Blow, Wiz Kid, Zulu Nation anniversary tapes. You know, Soul Sonic Force, Bambaataa, and all of them. I was collecting tapes of all these heroes of mine, and I looked up to and I emulated all these brothers and sisters that were on the tapes, because that was our vibe. That was our way of our music, our culture traveling throughout the tri-state area, throughout the East Coast at the time. So yeah, I started collecting the tapes, and you know, and then I started rhyming, you know, and emulating the individuals on the tapes. And instead of saying their name, I said my name. And I employed my name, Geechie Dan, because everybody said I look like a little Geech anyway. And then, you know, Uptown Saturday Night was my favorite movie at that time, with Bill Cosby and Sidney Poitier and Harry Belafonte. He played Geechie Dan. So that's where I got my name. My name was really Dan. My real name is Daniel. So it all kind of coincided together. You know what I'm saying? So then that's how I got my start. And then I got my feet wet going against LL. That's my man. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to him. And side note, real quick, he's been nominated to go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame today. So everybody go out there and vote, www.rock rockyrollhall.com and put your voting for my man LL Cool J. He's been nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame today. So yeah, me and him, he was the top dog in the hood at that time, and I was the second in the hood that was, coming up. And I went at him spontaneously. It wasn't, malicious. It wasn't, being, disrespectful. It was just, teenage shit. That's what we do when we're teenagers. You know what I'm saying? He was 15, 16 years old, 17, and like I said, he was top dog. I was number 2, and I was rhyming at a spot, a club, a little hole in the road on Farmers Boulevard at 112th Avenue. And, I was in the back of the club rhyming, and I was, freestyling off my head. I didn't write any rhymes at that time on paper. And I said, it's not a fable, it's not a myth. Cool J's real name is James Todd Smith. But when it comes to rapping, he can't compare because his headline is back here, I swear. And I did all the antics and all that shit.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So he heard about it, whether he was coming up to the club or somebody went to his house and got him. And what I was told, he was already en route. And, cats ran up on him and said, yo, little skinny dude, he dissing you he talking about your hairline, and he dissed you. I know you're gonna let that. I know you're gonna let him come off like that on you. You know what I'm saying? So he came in the spot, and I was already off stage and walking towards the front of the club, and he came in the club, and I pulled out my hand. I said, "Yo, what's up, Todd?" And he smacked my hand down and shit, and we got into some words, and he shoved me, and then I tried to knock his Kango off of his head, and that didn't work. He must have had crazy glue. You know what I'm saying? He had crazy glue under the Kango, so that didn't work. And then chairs were thrown, and we was riffing and shit. So we go outside, and we didn't argue. We didn't have no fight. And then we just went our separate ways. And then I ran into him a couple of weeks later. It started getting warm out, and I said, "Yo, what's up?" He called me. It was he was on Farmers with his goons, and I was like, "Yo, what's up?" And he's like, "Yo, come here, man, come here." And I'm like, "Nah, man, you got your goons with you. I ain't coming over there. You got like 10 dudes with you, B. I'm not coming. I'm by myself." He's like, "Nah, come over, come here, man." So I came across the street, and we chopped it up, and we was cool. We was cool. And then a spot that we used to hang out called Bobo's. It was a game room, Space Invaders, Asteroids, and Pac-Man and all that shit. We was in the game room drinking 40s and bugging out, talking to chicks and, like I said, teenage shit. And we officially battled, and I took my first loss. And you know what I'm saying? I went first, he went after me, and that was it.
Wow.
So
wow.
That's how that
big shout out to LL Cool J. I mean, like you said, as teenagers, did you ever think that LL Cool J would be the LL that we all know and love today?
No.
Wow.
This brother, he was determined though. I give him a lot of credit. This brother was determined, and every time, when you think that he ain't going to go any further, he'll shock us, and he'll go from being the neighborhood star, then he went to being a hip hop star, and then he became a superstar, and then he became a legend. Now, and Homeboy is an icon. You know what I'm saying? So to watch this brother play his demo, "I Need a Beat," for me before he even put it on before he even put it on record, before on wax, he was playing "I Need a Beat," the cassette tape, the demo, and he was playing it on his radio, and he kept rewinding the tape, and I was like, yo Todd, that's dope. Yo, check it out. Yo, Geechie, check it out. And he'll rewind the tape, and I'm like, yo, dude, you already played the song like 4 or 5 times already. What the fuck? I get it. You know what I'm saying? He was just that dude, man. You're like, yo, man. You're like, you played this shit 6 times, dude. Like, how many more times you gonna play it? I get it. But that's how he was, man. He was really aggressive. He was really determined. And he was really sure about him, you know, about himself, lyrically, you know what I'm saying? And he was just very determined, man. And I appreciate that. To watch him to see where he came from and to see him today, that ain't nothing but a blessing, man. That is so dope. To see one of your childhood friends when you're 15 years old, 16 years old, and started out from nothing, just a dream. He just wanted to hear his song on New York City radio, FM radio, Kiss FM, WBLS. He just wanted to hear his song on the radio, and you know, God, you know, blessed him. For real, like, yo, man. So big shout out to homeboy. You know, he went for his, and yo, man, I'm proud of him, man. For real, man.
There's a few things to extract from what you just said, and what you just said is very, very profound. It speaks not only to what you guys shared in Queens, but I should say it should speak to the entire world. Point number one. The idea that you're celebrating someone you took an L to when there's still Boston Celtics that cannot stand the Lakers, and there's still Detroit Pistons who cannot, you know, stomach the Chicago Bulls says one thing. Point number two, the idea that LL was this blueprint of what a man should be or a young man should be in their confidence and their outlook on themselves and their belief, even when no one sees where they're going. That's another thing, especially for Black History Month. And last point is to hear you talk about this in such a matter-of-fact way. What is that in its totality mean for Queens, Farmers Boulevard, that area? When we talk about, like you said, a lot of families out there, they don't have nothing. A lot of people come from zero with a dream. What does that mean, knowing you occupied that space and for the people there to know this man's about to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which he should, deservedly so. That whole first album was rock and hip hop.
Hip hop, yes.
So, you know, it's been long overdue if you ask me. But tell the people them, what does that mean?
It means a lot to Queens. It means a lot to the community that we are from. It means a lot to Hollis, St. Albans, man. It means a lot to me. You know, this brother, man, was determined to be great at something that he loved. We both love. And he saw the bigger picture. And for him to take that chance and making it happen, I commend him. The community loves him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, we commend you.
Queens loves this brother, man.
Well, you know, we commend you. We commend you because greats do great things.
Right.
But it takes the people to acknowledge the greatness and to not feel some kind of way or slighted that it wasn't them. I think that is what everyone should aspire to want to feel like, regardless to how many years go by, because it takes a real man to address that, say that, do that, and everything that you're telling me should be the example of how everyone else in other cities should be. In the exact tone, like, yo, I may not have been what LL became, but I love what he did. And because he's that, I'm that too. Because he represented Queens, he's representing me. How the hell could I not love that and love him?
That's right. Ain't no hate. Yo, when I talk about Homeboy, it ain't no hate, man. It's really like for love, for real. Like, I'm very proud of this dude, man. You know, this dude, the whole hip hop came at him hard. They came at this dude when he first came out. When he first came out, people doubted him. People, and he was, braggadocious. He was like, he's the best MC in hip hop. He's the best rapper in history itself. He proclaimed that shit, and motherfuckers came at him like, really? Well, you're gonna have to prove it. So he had to prove it. He just didn't have to. People think that he just said it and everybody just gave him a pass. Ain't nobody gave Homeboy a pass, B, on this. Like, he really had to prove his point. He had to show people why he is the GOAT. And he consistently had to prove himself every decade, every album, every show, everything he did on TV with the acting. He always had to prove himself. Right. And even today, he still has to prove himself 40 some years later. Homeboy still got to prove himself, man. It's like, give it to you got to give it to this dude, man. Why don't people don't? This man is very, like when people talk about hip hop's MCs and top 5 MCs, and he's never mentioned in nobody's top 5. That bugs crazy. The bugs shit out of him, dude.
Right. You know what's crazy about that notion too? Because like yourself, I grew up listening to LL, and that first album, if you listen to one record on that album, 9 times out of 10, people could say the landmark is Rock the Bells. And it's not even the one technically he did first. It's the remix.
The remix, right.
Right, that everyone knows, right? But then even if you missed that, it was impossible for you to miss Bad. And what that album was, the Bristol Hotel, the
Candy,
the doo-wop, right, all of this madness of lyrical insanity. Of lyrical insanity. And then he was a part of one of the, some of the most epic battles, Kool Moe Dee, Jinglin' Baby, to
the break of dawn.
To the break of dawn, Cannabis.
He got it into a Cannabis. Let me tell you, man. Still got into Cannabis.
And Wyclef.
Wyclef, MC Shan, Kool Moe Dee, Ice-T, Hammer. Everybody went for LLB. Like, nobody, everybody was coming for his spot.
Right. And, when you're talking about that resume, you're absolutely right. I think battle rappers at times, by peril, are always overlooked because they classify them as battle rappers and not lyricists. Rakim was never a battle rapper.
No.
Nas was really never a battle rapper.
Nah.
Biggie, never really a battle rapper.
Battle rapper, no. Tupac, nah.
Right. Well, he was, but he wasn't.
Tupac wasn't no battle rapper.
No, he was. He wasn't. He was with a spirit. His spirit was a battler, a soldier, a warrior.
Right.
But
soldier war type of dude.
Right. But to your point, and I want to say this enough, LL, though the body of work says otherwise, he was always looked at as a battle rapper and not considered as your top tier lyricist, such as a Rakim, such as a Kool G Rap, and so on and so forth. But then he had a period of time where it wasn't so much about the broad lyricism as much as it was for the ladies. He went on a long time about the ladies. So maybe they asterisk that. I don't know, but I think they're fucking insane because LL is the epitome of what an MC is. The confidence that you have to have, the ability to kind of go in your bag and pull out all kinds of tricks. He was just one of those people that you could get anything from him. You need a love song, LL. You need to go body this dude, LL. You know, you need a party rock joint, LL. Like he was a Swiss Army knife of sorts. You know, and a lot of other MCs couldn't say that. You know, but I think that's amazing that you were able to experience that.
Thank you. Homeboy deserved that though. It just wasn't given to him. Just like he had to prove it to me when we battled, he had to prove it to the world. He had to prove it to everybody trying to take his spot.
Right.
So, you know, he had to go for his, and he went for his.
Now let's push it forward a little bit, and let's talk about let's talk about the ideas after, you know, dealing with LL and you starting to branch out into your career. Talk about how you got into being a curator, if you will, and going into that area of the hip hop, which not too many people run towards that. And I think that's amazing. And I think that's dope to want to catalog our culture this way. Talk about that.
Now, just let me explain something to people. Okay. I didn't plan this. It's just I was at the right place at the right time in the 80s, the right time. And you know, from after, you know, hanging out with LL, and then you walk up 10 blocks, you got Tribe Called Quest. Then you go around the corner from LL, you got Fubu. Then you go up the street, you got Run DMC, you got Jam Master Jay, you got Hurricane. Then you got Ja Rule. Then you had Irv Gotti. Then you go, you know, about 20 blocks in another direction, you got Ed Lover, you got Salt and Pepper, you got Kwame, you got on the south side, Jamaica, Queens, you got the Lost Boys, you got Onyx, you got Organized Confusion. So I'm surrounded by all these people. And then when I went to BAU, you know, in 1984, I got down with you know, the radio station. Chuck D's up there, early pro black Chucky D at that time it was called. Now you know
Chucky D.
So you got Chuck D. Then you got Flavor. Yes. You got and Shockley, two brothers with Spectrum City. You got Dr. Dre from Yo and DD Rap. You got T Money. You know what I'm saying? You got Son of Berserk. You got JVC Force. You got Leaders of the New School. So I'm up there with all these dudes at, you know what I'm saying, at 16, 17, 18 years old.
Wow. So
I'm surrounded by all these people that end up being successful in hip hop, end up being legends and icons. So I didn't, you know, I took it for granted that, you know, as years went by, I'm collecting tapes. You know, I'm listening to Chuck D telling us about how hip hop is going to take over the world at 16, 17 years old. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. But this is what he put out there in 1985, 1986. And we're sitting there like kids in the library listening to this brother. And Flavor Flav acting like the way he was acting then, and how he acts now. He was acting like that then. You know, so
and I want to give this was out. And I want to give
just at the right place at the right time, man. Like I couldn't put myself at another place at another time, in another city, and it just happened that way.
Right.
And that's
Let me give a
crazy
special.
to
Let
be
me give a
surrounded by
special
all
shout
that
out.
at the time that I'm grown up as a teenager in Queens. So when I talk about, hip hop today with the tapes, and when I talk about, Jam Master Jay, rest in peace, Jay, and Run DMC and LL, and I'm collecting tapes from all our hip hop icons when I'm 12 and 13 years old. And I built up my collection to, as I started out as, 5, 6 tapes. When I was, 14, 15 years old, I had 6, 7 tapes. And in 1985, I got up to 50 tapes. Now I'm 50, almost 54 years old. I got almost 600 tapes that I've been collecting all throughout the years, grinding, getting these tapes, because tapes made me feel, a special kind of way about our culture. Made me feel good about our culture, and the icons that contribute to this culture, this big pot of gumbo I call hip hop, because everybody contribute to hip hop, to our culture. Somebody doing the carrot from over here, somebody doing a potato from over here, somebody doing some shrimp from over here, somebody doing some chicken from over here, and then somebody doing some parsley from over here, somebody doing some celery over here. You know what I'm saying? So everybody contribute to this big pot of gumbo I call hip hop, man. And I'm just, I was just fortunate that I was around everybody at this time.
Right.
Everybody's when Run DMC, when they came out, man, we were so proud of having some hip hop heroes from Queens. That was special to us, man. And this was no disrespect to the brothers and sisters up in the Bronx. It was just like you got Captain America living right around the corner from your house, to opposed to Iron Man and Spider-Man up in the Bronx. We got Captain America right around the corner from us on Hollis, and we can touch them, and we can speak to them, and we can approach them. And these cats traveled and toured all over the world. So that was, inspirational. That was dope to see growing up in Queens, man. So yeah, that was crazy, man. Yes.
Right. I want to say a special shout out.
I can't hear you. Hold on.
Check.
Hold on. I can't hear you. Hold on. Shit, I might have to come back in. Hold on for a second. Hold on. Let me come right back in.
Okay. Yeah, let me give a special shout out to Public Enemy. Yo Bum Rush the show today, February 10th, dropped in 1987. I was just saying, Public Enemy's Yo Bum Rush the show dropped today, February 10th in 1987. And let me tell you something. The fact that you were able to work with them early, I remember hearing that album, and those were one of the pivotal moments in my life that changed how I heard music. I never thought I would love noise. And Public Enemy said, "You want some noise? Here you go." And that Public Enemy #1, that Too Much Posse, that they epitomized what it was for a black man to have all of this energy. And growing up, we as black men in this country, as a teenager, you have all of this energy that you need to get out. And Public Enemy was one of the few groups that tapped into that frequency in a way to give you discipline with that energy. You felt like a man, not only just as a hip hop dude, but you just felt like a man when you heard that music, that what that PE was, man. That was just insane, man. So to be able to work with them, that and shouts out to JBC Force, my man Blue Love will be on next week. So shout out to
big shout out to JPC Force, my dudes.
Yes. Yep. And you just mentioned, for those that don't know, Queens is a part of Long Island, or Long Island's a part of that Queens. It's one big long extension.
Yep.
And what was that like for you, seeing what Public Enemy wound up doing and seeing the impact?
It's amazing to watch from scratch, from the beginning.
Right.
From the beginning. Man, coming from Queens, it was different hearing from the Bronx, and then Queens coming on the map, and then Public Enemy, now Long Island is getting put on the map. So it was like a transitional period for hip hop. It started in Harlem and the Bronx. It trickled down to Queens. Queens is changing hip, going in another direction, taking hip hop another direction. Now here comes Public Enemy, EPMD, Rakim, JVC Force, Granddaddy IU, Son of Berserk Town. You know what I'm saying? So you had all these people from Long Island, Bismarcky, all of them from Long Island started coming with that different flavor, and now they contributed to this pot of gumbo called hip hop. And so it's amazing to be witness to see it coming from scratch. You know what I'm saying? From nothing to where we at today, man. It's phenomenal, man. Yeah, it was great to see coming from Queens, because when I'm from Queens, to see these cats, they was like, yo, man, we don't want to be like you. Just like you didn't, Queens cats didn't want to be like Uptown cats and people from the Bronx. We wanted to bring something different. We wanted to do something different. So Long Island was doing the same thing that Queens was doing, in a sense.
Right. You said some serious stuff there. The idea of being original, coming up with your own scheme of things, your own schematics to this thing of ours. Do you feel hip hop has lost its way by sort of adapting everyone's particular recipe, or do you feel like hip hop will be fine, and this is just one phase of what we're going through right now?
I think we'll be fine. I think that individuals like myself that's having the best interests of hip hop and the icons and the culture. Eventually we're going to get back to square one. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get back to the essence of hip hop again. New York is going to be back. We're going to have our glory days. You know what I'm saying? But right now, let the South have that reign right now. Let them enjoy that. But at the same time, we still have to educate and let this generation know that if it wasn't for our generation, it wouldn't be you guys. It wouldn't be you guys. And I want to put out there a challenge for this generation. I want this generation to reach out to us and study the tapes. Study, a lot of these cats are out here to make the money. I'm not knocking you for making money. You know what I'm saying? Do you want to make money? That's cool. But at the same time, this is a culture. Our culture is rich. Our culture is global and it's powerful. So take, what we built and don't take it for granted. What you can do, what your voice can do, what your songs can do. And we want this generation to do better music. We want you to do classic music, iconic music. We want you to take it to another level, but we understand we understand it has to be a balance. We don't want too much ignorance, so we don't want this global perception of hip hop is just some thug music or some ignorant music. Some bunch of ignorant people got together and created some ignorant mess, some ignorant, you know what I'm saying? We put in a lot of work and time and effort, and we sweat it to make sure that, you know, culture, hip hop is here to stay for good. It's not a fad. So don't rate hip hop, man. Don't rate the culture, man. You know, respect the culture, and if you love the culture, then, you know, get to trying to understand, you know, more about the culture. You know, learn about more about the culture that you're getting into, so you can make better music. Because ultimately, we want this generation to make better music, man.
What do you think is the reason that young people are not receptive to older people? Now, I'm gonna throw something way the hell out in the wind. You know,
Go ahead.
I get it. There's less of a two-parent home, so there is an anger, if you will, or an ignorance or bias when it comes to older black men or people of color telling younger black men what to do. And there is this idea, like most kids have, that I get what you're trying to do, but we ain't trying to do what our parents did. You know,
Right. And we was like that too.
It's like that. How do you shorten the gap, if not bridge the gap in a more effective way? And I know you don't have the answer, so I'm not asking you to give me the answer, because that's impossible. But what we can have is understanding on both sides. What do you feel can bridge that gap so that people are receptive to the OGs the way other cultures are? OGs are heralded as being some of the most important figures in their community, and I think we do better if we start implementing things within our own steps, within our own communities, to allow young people to be able to speak and not feel like they're going to be chastised by an older person, therefore enlarging the gap and not bringing it closer. What say you, buddy?
Well, first things first, we got to be honest. Our parents wasn't trying to check us what we was doing. You know, when we was coming up, when I was coming up, my mother dismissed hip hop. It's a fad. You know, I used to go to the Kingdom Hall, and they, you know, as well was dismissing hip hop. It's a bunch of ignorant, bunch of guys, gang members, and they don't know what they talking about, a bunch of gibberish, and it's a fad. It'll phase out and it'll go away. So I get it. You know, I try to be brutally honest with this generation with their music. All I do is I give you an example. My stepson, you know, I talked to him the other day. I said, "Yo, man, I want you to do. You can spit, but I want you to learn the business. It ain't just putting an MP3 out on and getting a record deal and getting all this money. It ain't like that.
Right.
You have to know the business aspect of this. I want you to listen to, you know, some of the tapes that I play on my show. Yeah, it's old school to you, but you can get something from hearing these type of songs. Because at the end of the day, I want you to make better music. You got to understand where we were coming from before you know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, then you're going to just continue this cycle of doing everything on your own accord and thinking, and then people okaying it. And sometimes sometimes you gotta pull them to the side. Yo, stop saying bitch. Yo, stop. We're not OGs. We are hip hop legends. We are hip hop icons. Stop calling us OGs. You know, the white people, when you go to a Rolling Stone concert, they got their grandchildren with them. They are called rock and roll legends, rock and roll icons. Peter Frampton and the Monkees and the Beatles and Pink Floyd. They're not called OGs. They are called hip hop legends. I mean, I'm sorry, they're called rock and roll legends.
Right.
Their parents school their kids. Hey, this is Peter Frampton. Hey, this is Pink Floyd. Hey, this is Guns N' Roses. Oh, so when a new artist comes out, a rock and roll artist, they embrace that. But we don't do that to our culture. We don't do that in hip hop. We destroy it. Oh, he's too old.
You know what's funny that you say that, and I had an epiphany the other day. Lord knows I could have ate a bowl of Fruit Loops. I don't know why I didn't say anything, but it was just an epiphany. You have these moments in your life where you're like, "What in the world?"
Right.
But to your point, rock and roll. I'm glad you brought that up. There's not a million in rock and roll records that are coming out every day. There's not a million in one, rock artists or rock groups coming out every day. There just ain't. There might be a lot of rock artists, but the ones that we get to know are very few and far between. Foo Fighters, for example, they hang their hat on the fact that they're the only real group out here in rock that's actually a real rock band and not an alternative group or not some sort of, spin-off of the real rock music. And this is why, and it flies me into my next question, museums are places for rare artifacts, things you can't find all over the world. They're not zoos, right? They're not zoos. They're not, you go here, I could get a gator over here, I could get a mosquito over here, or a lion over here. They're places in which, unless you had archaeologists, people that dig, or people that, save these paintings, they're supposed to be rare. And we live in a generation in which we have literally devalued the very coin in which we're trying to celebrate.
Right.
More doesn't make better. Less does. If we had less, we could be able to take time to appreciate these rare creations.
Yeah.
What do we do about that? You're about to set off this new museum. We got plans for a museum in the Bronx. We got a museum in DC. And ideally, it's probably going to be scaled all over the country. What can we do as a culture to bring that value back up so that these museums, to your point, carry these rare cassettes or these rare recordings of these rare great artists of our culture that contributed? What can we do as a culture? If you have an answer for that, I mean, literally the show is over, we're going viral. But just in the best way you can, address that. Because I think that's the 900-pound elephant in the room.
Let me tell you. This museum business is man. This museum business is. I'm trying to think of a word that can be that people can understand and it's effective to what I'm trying to say. This museum game is powerful, it's global, and we have to take advantage of that. And the Smithsonian is as prestigious as it is.
Right.
It's not a hip hop museum.
No, it isn't.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, beautiful, but it's not a hip hop entity. It doesn't represent us. It's nice, and we appreciate that we are included. But this took years of knocking on that door to let us in. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, they really don't want hip hop in that establishment. We have to start our own establishments. So I commend Rocky and his team at the Universal Hip Hop Museum up in the Bronx. I commend the Hip Hop Hall of Fame with J.T. Thompson. That's going to open up this year in Harlem. And I commend, the Hip Hop Museum in DC with Jeremy Beaver, and the team, our team there. And, we can't be, my thing first, getting into this museum business, my thing was gun-ho. I was really gun-ho about knocking on these establishments on their doors and say, I want to be invited into your establishment. I want to be invited to your, to rock with you guys, so I can help you out. So eventually we can build out the hip hop section or hip hop portion or segment of your museum. But as time went on, I was like, yo, we need to have our own museum. Like, for instance, today, hip hop, Jay-Z, and LL Cool J were nominated to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. LL, this is his, I believe, his 6th nomination. This is Jay-Z's, first nomination. So, we still knocking on this establishment, a rock and roll establishment, get hip hop in their museum, in their establishment. And then we get salty when they don't let us in. No, it's a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They got a Western museum, Western country. They got a Country Music Hall of Fame. They got a Western Music Hall of Fame. They got a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They got Latin music. They got pop, a Grammys Academy. They got all these other genres of music, museums and galleries. We need to have our own hip hop museum or gallery. So the more the merrier. I want us to have more museums. I want us to have more establishments that represent our culture. So, it's a lot of work. And a lot of people ain't cut for that. They want the easy way. They like, yo, just give me a check at the Smithsonian and I help you build your museum out. Nah, I don't want no check. I want to be able to have an executive decision to say, I want all our artifacts and collections to be hip hop. I don't want to work for the Smithsonian. I want Geechie Dan to have a museum represent hip hop in New York, ultimately at the end of the day. Right. And then just like I gotta give you. So at the end of the day, I want us. No problem. I want us to have our own establishments. I don't have to run and beg. I don't want to have to run and beg to another establishment to put me on or hook me up. I want to have our own establishments.
Well, those are the realities and honesties in which, to me, should be discussed, should be talked about in a public way and in a deliberate way. Because yes, these are some of the fights that we're still fighting. We're still fighting to have our story included in someone else's story, because they can't tell their story without telling ours. One thing we pride ourselves here at the Sound of Orlando show is that I refuse to be under this notion that if I tell my story, I have the luxury of leaving people out of the story. We see this play out just last week with Salt and Pepper leaving Spinderella out of their story.
Yes.
And then there's 2 Spinderellas out of their story.
Yes.
And yes, we get it. People are going to do that. How do you feel when people easily just leave us out of the story, and especially when we're half of the story? It's like, when does the story become a lie? If 50% of the story is left out, then you're lying. It's not the story. It's a story. It's not the real thing. And we, all of us, this culture included, so many people have been paid off to leave us out of stories, right? So if this artist is no longer relevant, we're not going to tell his story. Right. If this producer, agreed to be screwed, we're not going to tell this story. Who cares if they produced 90% of the records? If this DJ was the reason they got signed, it's okay. They're not important. We'll leave them out of the story.
Right.
Not their story. It's our fucking story. So, I mean, I'm being funny about it because in the absence of tears, there will be laughter. But it is a sad state of affairs that we've been reduced when all the dignity, when all the money, when all the fame is gone. We're not even deservant of the entire story. What say you?
I feel the same way. And I just got to the point where, like I said, I was really gun-ho once I got into this museum business, and I started, looking and observing how business is done in the museum game. And I was like, man, this is a lot of work, but I've been put in a position to have the best interests of hip hop. And I'm very passionate and I'm very motivated what I do and what I believe in. And I wish there was 7-8 more individuals like me. Everybody ain't built like that. Everybody can't, obviously can't be like that. But sometimes, it's like, man, sometimes it's lonely because, I got this imagination of mine that God, continues blessing me, that what hip hop can be and what hip hop has done. And then sometimes I look back and I say, dang, man, we came so far to be where we at right now. We got so much, I have so much work to do.
Right.
Because, hip hop deserves more. Our icons deserve more. Our culture deserves more. And, these establishments, hip hop is corporate now, so just, they don't have their hip hop's best interests at heart for these brothers and sisters, for myself. They wanted, anything to exploit, they're going to do, my thing is,
and
what I'm saying? So I feel like, we need to start, doing our own, and as much as we can do. I did some research on the Hard Rock Cafe. 2 dudes started a restaurant in 1972, and then 7 years later, 1978, 1979, they started incorporating rock and roll artifacts and artifact guitars and rock and roll items into their restaurant and put it on display. And it built out for years. And the Hard Rock Cafe was sold in 2008 for $965 million to the Somalian Indians in Florida. They built it from scratch, a restaurant. So why we can't duplicate that formula in hip hop? My thing is, I can't do everything, but that's the direction that I want to see hip hop be. Why we gotta stop? Why we gotta keep waiting for the Smithsonian to build our culture up? Why do we have to keep begging the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to induct our heroes, our hip hop legends and icons? It's after a while, it's like, yo, man, it's sometimes it's like disheartening sometimes to me.
Right.
And I got to the point where, I'm gonna have to just take a leap on faith, like I've been doing, like I've been rocking the last couple of years. I've been doing things on faith. So I just have to continue praying about different things and allowing God to continue blessing my imagination on what I can do. You know what I'm saying? And try to have some class about it, because I'm tired of hip hop, this perception of hip hop as the bottom of the barrel music genre. I want the world to see the best of hip hop for a change. I want the world to see hip hop win, our culture to win, because we've been taking losses in the media with TV and radio for years.
They're in a church in the world that's gonna tell me Jesus wanted to do it. There ain't a church in the world.
Right.
Every church is gonna tell you one way or another, Jesus did not want to get on that cross. And
Thank you.
a lot of our people are reluctant warriors in general because
Yes.
they require something, and because they need it, it is invented. We did that with hip hop. We needed a
Yes.
voice, and hip hop was created. This is the only way you're gonna understand us, by feeling us. Hip hop is invasive. It invades you not only mentally, spiritually, physically. It's an invasive. It's an invasive organism. It's not there to be, subtle.
Right.
To your point, the idea of preserving our artifacts, our culture, I think we all have a responsibility to do that in one way or another because it is ours.
Right.
And because it is ours, it will be a very lonely road because we're still inventing and developing this thing called hip hop.
Yes.
There's not one set way to approach any particular thing in hip hop. Anyone telling you this will be telling you Jesus wanted to go on the cross and use a lie. No one
Right.
wants to go on the cross.
Nobody wants to go on the cross.
You can say that bullshit all moment. Don't none of the prophets, none of the apostles, none of the messiahs, nobody wants to do the shit that they're doing. They're doing it out of necessity, and necessity is the mother of invention. You put us in a corner, we're just going to have to find a way. I think this is your corner. I think this is where you should be.
Thank you.
For you to even be thinking about doing it, considering all the reasons to say no, I think that says more about you and your movement than it does otherwise. Build the place, people will come. Know that.
Yep. Yep.
It is about our story. You could keep a father away from his kid, for 20 years, but eventually that kid will show up and want to know the story from you. This is what that is. The hip hop and music is the stepchild, the orphan, the forgotten. We easily forget what hip hop has been for a lot of people. It has not only been an escape, it's just been a reality. And we need people like you out there on the front lines, regardless whether you're in New York, Cali, wherever. We need you out there doing what you're doing. So kudos.
Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Right. I know me telling you it's not going to be easy would not be the truth. It's probably going to be very difficult, and you may not even live long enough to see what you've done. But know that whatever you've done has, to your first thing you said on here, the contribution. You've contributed. You've given when the world didn't even see you give. You've given. And be thankful. Be proud of that, bro. And do not stop whatever you do. When is this new project you got going on starting, and how can people reach you or get involved in it? If they want to help.
I'm slowly working towards that. Once paperwork, once the 501(c)(3) tax exempt status is completed with the IRS, then I'm gonna go full-fledged, and I'm gonna have a website. I'm gonna have an app. I'm looking for I'll be looking for a location in Queens, and so yeah, man. This is what this is my passion, and in my passion, ultimately it turned into my purpose. And I just felt like hip hop I feel like hip hop needs to be represented better on a global level. Everybody contributed hip hop. Everybody on the tape from before 1980 automatically belongs in a hip hop museum, gallery, automatically, just because they was part of the first generation. That alone says a lot, but rock and roll Hall of Fame, the Smithsonian, them type of establishments they're not looking at they're not looking at it that's from that standpoint. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be, looking to knock on the Library of Congress sometime this year. I'm gonna be knocking on their door too, because the tapes belong in the Library of Congress, just like vinyl and selected songs that had an impact on the world. I believe some of the tapes belong in the Library of Congress. So, I'm gonna be knocking on their door too. I might have to fuck around and might have to start my own Library of Congress, a hip hop Library of Congress. You know what I'm saying?
Well, both things can be true, and
what I'm saying? Yeah.
both things need to be done. How can anyone help you? How can they reach you? We got people tuning in from Canada. Shout out to my man Jason. What's good? We got people from all over the country tuning in right now. If anyone wants to help you see this and realize this and bring this to fruition, how can they get to you?
Well, right now you can get to me on Facebook, Geechie Dan. I'm on Instagram as Geechie Dan Hollis. I'm also going to have another page on Instagram called I Got the Tapes. I'm on Twitter as Geechie_AYC. I'm going to have a website and an app coming up soon in the next upcoming months, probably by summer. So it'll be my foundation, would be up and running, and I'll be ready to have donations, what I'm saying, and items being donated to my foundation. So that's coming, slowly but surely it's coming, and so yeah, man, I want to thank you for inviting me on your show. Big shout out to everybody in Orlando, all your listeners, all your viewers, and continue watching me continue growing, evolving, because I'm not gonna stop. What I'm saying? I'm always going to continue growing. I'm going to keep evolving. I'm always going to take hip hop to another place, another direction where we should be. Should have been done a long time ago, years ago. But God, put me in this position to, live out my passion. And like I said, my passion has just turned into my purpose. And everybody, ain't going to understand your purpose, but I do. Nah, man. So I said, I appreciate everybody, rocking with me, man. This ain't no easy task. A lot of our hip hop icons, like you said, and myself may not be around. Our icons and most of them in this, late 50s and 60s. So appreciate the brothers and sisters now, give them their flowers now, today, and not wait till they're 6 feet under, and let's try to get some type of permanent structure, some museum, whether it's in the Bronx, whether it's in DC, whether it's in Brooklyn, whether it's in Queens. Let's try to continue making that a goal for hip hop, because hip hop deserves that, and all the icons that contribute deserves that. All right,
Negro, there should be one in Orlando. There should be one in Miami.
It should be. I'm actually, when you mention that, brother, I already got that in the works.
Okay.
At the theme, like I can't tell you, I can't be descriptive about it right now, but I've already got that in the works for somebody.
Right. Well, Lord knows
we talking about having museums and galleries and cafes in Toronto and London and Africa and Los Angeles and Houston and in Orlando and in Miami and
Right.
Atlanta.
And we
and,
should.
Kansas City, everywhere.
We got Starbucks. We got fucking McDonald's, and ain't a double cheeseburger and a coffee ever taught me nothing other than go to the bathroom. So we should definitely have a hip hop museum in all cities, in all states, because hip hop is not only born where you're at, it is born everywhere someone alive is suffering. Anywhere somebody is going through something and needs a voice, and hip hop is the advocate. Now that is the real deal Holyfield right there, bro. And once again, thank you, Geechie Dan, for coming on the show, letting people know that there's people out there working on something other than rapping, playing basketball, or just plain out being a celebrity. We got people actually caring about to record what has all been going on all of these years, because rap is something you do, hip hop is something you live. We love you, man. I know I speak for the whole city of Orlando. Keep doing your thing.
Thank you.
Don't stop. And you are always welcome in the city, bro. That's on GP. Thank you.
Yo, thank you. When I come to Orlando, I'm gonna see you. I'm gonna check you out, okay, brother?
Yes, sir, bro. Thank you for joining.
Let me say some shout outs. Let me say some shout outs real quick. Big shout out to Hip Hop Generational. I'm sorry. Let me say what's up to Hip Hop Museum in DC. Jeremy Beaver and the team in DC. Big shout out to Generation Hip Hop Global, Terrence Barry, our chairman, and Dobby Mandela, Nelson Mandela's grandson. He's our chairman for Generation Hip Hop Global. So big shout out to them. Big shout out to Hip Hop Fundamental. I'm a brand ambassador for them as well. So big shout out to Nadine, Larry, the Gov Talk Live. Big shout out to to that team. To the team Hip Hop Fundamental. Big shout out to the Wit Fanatics. I'm always rocking their shirts and hats and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So big shout out to the Wit Fanatics out in Queens that I'm also the brand ambassador for. Big shout out to Fly TV, my man Flip. He's doing this a Valentine's Day concert in Atlantic City this coming up weekend. So check us out, Fly TV. That's going to be doing that. So big shout out to Flip, and big shout out to everybody in Queens. Big shout out to everybody, all the hip hop icons, all the legends. I got the tapes for real. And, big shout out to LL's nomination on him being inducted to to be nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Man, it's just, my cousin, Uncle Boogie out in Kokomo, Indiana, doing radio. He's doing his thing. And, my wife, Sheila, big shout out to my wife for the support. She always continues supporting me, man. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. So, yeah, man, it's just a lot of love I'm getting on Facebook and on Instagram. So, big shout out to everybody on Instagram that follows me, Geechie Dan Hollis. I'm on Facebook as Geechie Dan and Twitter, Geechie_NYC. Pass the torch, Mikey D, check him out. You know what I'm saying? That's big shout out to Mikey D in Queens. And, Hip Hop Boulevard. I'm on the advisory board for Hip Hop Boulevard. So big shout out to Al Pizarro and Eddie Rivera out up in the Bronx. We're doing great things with that organization as well, man. All right. I say peace to everybody. Peace, Aki, peace. All my Zulu Nation brothers and sisters all over the world. All right.
Hey, give it up one time for my man, my mellow, the one and only Geechie Dan, for joining the Sound of Orlando show. Like I said, man, we're rooting for you, bro, and continue doing what you're doing. We will have portions of this interview on 98.5 The Wire in Orlando. So please send us a drop so that we can introduce the show well. The Sound of Orlando, and whatever you want to put anywhere around Sound of Orlando with Rome, and put anything else you want to put around it, brother. So once again, give it up, Orlando, for my man Geechie Dan. Let's go.
Let's go. Peace.
Yes. You know what time it is, man. We try to continue to push the culture forward. Yeah, I said it. We got 10 million Starbucks and 100 million McDonald's selling double cheeseburgers, how come we don't have one hip hop museum in every city? This is what we need to be doing. The brother out here is doing his thing. He's contributing to it. He's trying to make it happen for Queens and areas around. Let's talk about that. Let's start to realize that we are a lot more powerful together than we are divided. Big up to everybody out there on the check-in. We love you, Jesse Jazz, my man Ricky, always on the fucking grind. My man Jason, representing Canada, all the way in Canada. He's on the check-in tonight. We love y'all, man. This is about the culture. Tomorrow night, we will have a beautiful, beautiful vibration tomorrow. The group called Silk. If you don't know about the Soul Show, please ask somebody. This show is about our city, but yet it is about the world that we live. Shout out to all my sponsors tonight. If you need masks, go hit up my man TomSons.com. George is going to set you straight. He's going to put a mask on your face. Don't wait too late. And next, 5-Star Graphics, legendary DJ, legendary promoter, legendary graphic designer, all in one, man. All you got to do is go hit my man Jesse Jazz up at 5stargraphics.com. You got it. You need it. He's got it, man. Anyway, once again, we love y'all. We love every time we're with you guys. You guys are what make the show what it is. Thank you for your support as always. And like I said earlier in the monologue, if you suspect someone of snitching and reporting you and they're on your friends list, tell that person to kick rocks, block them, get them out of your way, because if you're being blocked more than once or twice a month, it's not Facebook, my friend. It's not even you, my friend. It's your friend. Now, I know I'm being funny. That's what we do here, too. We like to laugh, make it, a little bit lighter than usual. But once again, this is the Sound of Orlando show. You know what we're doing out here, man. Our city, our story, our mother sound. Let's go.
Live on stage, the sound
Of Orlando.
So, is they ready?